Hi, I'm going to re-record chapters 2 and 3. I guess the video is a little choppy. So, Maniac Magee, chapter 2. Everybody knows that Maniac Magee, then Jeffrey, started out at Hollisdayburg and wound up in Two Mills. The question is, what took him so long, and what did he do along the way? Sure, 200 miles is a long way, especially on foot, but the year that it took him to cover it was about 51 weeks more than he needed, figuring the way he could run even then. The legend doesn't have the answer. That's why this period is known as the Lost Year. And another question, why did he stay here? Why Two Mills? Of course, there's the obvious answer, that sitting right across the Schuylkill is Bridgeport, where he was born. Yet there are two theories. Some say he just got tired of running. Some say it was the butterscotch crimpets. And some say he only intended to pause here, but he stayed because he was so happy to make a friend. If you listen to everybody who claims to have seen Jeffrey, Maniac Magee, that first day, there must have been 10,000 people in a parade of fire trucks waiting for him at the town limits. Don't believe it. A couple of people truly remember, and here's what they saw. A scraggly little kid jogging toward them, the soles of both sneakers hanging on their hinges and flopping open like a dog tongue each time they came up from the pavement. But it was something they heard that made him stick out in their minds all these years. As he passed them, he said, "Hi." Just that. Hi. And he was gone. They stopped, they blinked, they turned, they stared at him, they wondered, "Do I know that kid?" Because people just don't say that to strangers out of the blue. Chapter 3. As for the first person to actually stop and talk with Maniac, that would be Amanda Beale. And it happened because of a mistake. It was around 8 in the morning, and Amanda was heading for grade school, like hundreds of other kids all over town. What made Amanda different was that she was carrying a suitcase, and that's what caught Maniac's eye. He figured she was like him, running away, so he stopped and said, "Hi." Amanda was suspicious. Who was this white stranger kid, and what was he doing in the East End, where almost all the kids were black? And why was he saying that? But Amanda Beale was also friendly, so she stopped and said, "Hi," back. "Are you running away?" Jeffrey asked her. "Huh?" said Amanda. Jeffrey pointed at the suitcase. Amanda frowned, then thought, then laughed. She laughed so hard, she began to lose her balance, so she set the suitcase down and sat on it so she could laugh more safely. When at last she could speak, she said, "I'm not running away. I'm going to school." She saw the puzzlement on his face. She got off the suitcase and opened it up right there on the sidewalk. Jeffrey gasped. Books. Books, all right. Both sides of the suitcase crammed with them. Dozens more than anyone would ever need for homework. Jeffrey fell to his knees. He, Amanda, and the suitcase were like a rock in a stream. The schoolgoers just flowed to the left and the right around them. He turned his head this way and that to read the titles. He lifted the books on top to see the ones beneath. There were fiction books and non-fiction books, who did it books and let's be friend books, and what is it books and how to books, and how not to books and just regular kid books. On the bottom was a single volume from an encyclopedia. It was letter A. "My library," Amanda Beale said proudly. Somebody called. "Gonna be late for school, Amanda." Amanda looked up. The street was almost deserted. She slammed the suitcase shut and started hauling it along. Jeffrey took the suitcase from her. "I'll carry it for you." Amanda's eyes shot wide. She hesitated and snatched it back. "Who are you?" she said. "Jeffrey Magee." "Where are you from, West End?" "No." She stared at him. The flap-soled sneakers. Back in those days, the town was pretty much divided. The East End was blacks, the West End was whites. "I know you're not from the East End." "I'm from Bridgeport," he said. "Bridgeport? Over there? That Bridgeport?" "Yep." "Well, why aren't you there?" "It's where I'm from, not where I am." "Great. So where do you live?" Jeffrey looked around. I don't know. Maybe here? Maybe. Amanda shook her head and chuckled. Maybe you better go ask your mother and father if you live here or not. She speeded up. Jeffrey dropped for a second, then caught up with her. Why are you taking all these books to school? Amanda told him. She told him about her little brother and sister at home who loved to cry on every piece of paper they could find, whether or not it already had type all over it. And about the dog, Bow Wow, who chewed everything he could get his teeth on. And that, she said, was why she carried her whole library to and from school every day. First bell was ringing. The school was still a block away. Amanda ran. Jeffrey ran. Can I have a book, he said. They're mine, she said. Just to read, just to borrow. No. Please, what's your name? Amanda. Please, Amanda, anyone, your shortest one. I'm late now and I'm not going to stop and open up this thing again. Forget it. He stopped. Amanda. She kept running, then stopped, turned, glared. What kind of kid was this anyway? All grungy, ripped shirt. Why doesn't he go back to Bridgeport or the West End where he belonged? Why can't he bother some other girl there? And why was she still standing here? So what if I loaned you one, huh? How am I going to get it back? I'll bring it back, honest, if it's the last thing I do. What's your address? 728 Sycamore, she said. But you can't come there. You can't even be here. The second bell rang. Amanda screamed, whirled, ran. Amanda, she stopped. Oh, she squeaked. She tore a book from the suitcase, hurled it at him. Here, and dashed into school. The book came flapping like a wounded duck and fell at Jeffrey's feet. It was a story of the Children's Crusade. Jeffrey picked it up, and Amanda Beale was late to school for the only time in her life. So this chapter had a lot of similes in it, and similes, if you remember, are when you compare something to something else using like or as. So right in this last paragraph, they compared a flying book to a wounded duck when they said the book came flapping like a wounded duck and fell at Jeffrey's feet. So for extra credit, if you want to draw that simile, you can, and you can make it fun. You can take it serious and draw a book flying in the wind, or you could actually be a little creative. So again, it's the book came flapping like a wounded duck and fell at Jeffrey's feet. Make sure you log on to Google Classroom and answer the questions that go along with this story, and I will see you again later.